Saudações, meus caros amigos. Estamos cá numa live que será transmitida na língua inglesa e não será muito longânimo em português e vamos na língua de trabalho, que é inglês. Hello friends, my name is Daniel Salomão. Today in this live we are going to talk about the importance of learning English in Angolan context and the usefulness of teaching English using phonemic shirt. Actually, there are a lot of questions on these issues, mainly on phonemic shirt, and he is my guest, going to explain it better than me. Before going ahead or talking with him, actually, I'm going to read his biography, and also I'm going to raise, actually, apart from raising some questions related to our topic, I want you to comment, to ask questions if you have, of course, and try to share your ideas with us regarding the topic talking about today. Luiz Eldes, greeting for you, saudações, meu caro amigo. Okay, hello, Mr. Defer.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Okay. It was difficult to meet him. Actually, we have arranged this meeting for last Saturday, right?
Last month.
Last month.
Yeah.
Okay. It was dealt for last month, but it wasn't possible because we had some difficulties on having it out of this place. It means personally, but the only way we made to sharing ideas, knowledge with you guys was trying to make other deal in order to be invited in his office where he has been teaching English and trying to help some teachers on how to use phonemic shirt and learn aspect about phonemics as well. Okay, I'm not going to be so long in speaking, but for reading his biography, I forgot something before this. His name, my guest's name is David Fernando, who is most known by his professional name, which is Mr. Defer. I'm going to talk with Mr. Defer. He's here with me. I'm so happy to meet him here and accepting my invitation as well. Now I'm going to read his biography. David Fernando is an English teacher, a teacher trainer and international workshop speaker, and he is the author of a pronunciation chart called Phonemic Chart. As a teacher, he has worked for Escola Nacional de Administração e Políticas Públicas, INAP, International House, Luanda, where he taught in São Tomé and Príncipe, que International at Academia Unitel, Luanda, Communication Center, LCC, etc. As a workshop speaker, David has given talks at São Tomé and Príncipe University, April 2021. He said Luanda, August 2019. Pedagogical High School of Kwanza North, July 2019, Faculty of Humanities of Angolan of Agostinho Neto, June 2019, where he spoke about the importance of knowing and mastering the sounds of English through Zoom at International Society of Teachers. administrators and researchers está based in Thailand and Philippines, 2022 and 2021. And through Adobe Connect at International Association of Teachers of English as foreign language. Is that ITFO? ITFO, based in UK, based in the UK, etc. Articles published. David has published articles in international magazines like Elle, Angola, The Motivation and Solutions, published in International Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, ITSO Global Issues SIG, a phonemic chart from Angola, published in ITSO Voices issue 272 January February 2020. This article first appeared in Angola Elta Newsletters June 2019. Actually, Mr. David has envious biography, has worked hard to sum up, to make it short for us to read and have time for other issues. Valdemar Souza, saudações minha caríssima amiga, greeting for you. Actually, I'll be teaching you English as well. Mr. Defa,
yeah.
Valdemar Souza and Luis Elch are Brazilian.
Oh.
Okay, they are my friend from Brasilia.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Nice to meet, prazer em conhecer-vos. O Mr. Defa diz prazer em conhecer-vos. Okay, he speaks English, but today, Portuguese, but today he will be interacting with us in English. Mr. Defa,
Yeah.
now we can go ahead with our conversation, our talking. Okay. Mr. Defa, actually, there are a lot of people that struggle to learn English, and there are some who says that English is too difficult. That's why they can be at a school in the course of 3, sometimes 5 years, but yet they can't speak English.
Yeah.
In Angolan educational system, I don't know, English is not seen as a core subject. And me myself, I started to learn English at sixth grade until I finished high school, but I couldn't speak English until I went to an English center where I was learning English and dedicating myself in the language. So I got speak the same language, but at school it was real difficult, and most of the time I don't know where was the main problem, whether it is with some teachers of English or with syllabus designed from Ministry of Education, I don't know. But before talking exactly about this, I would like to know from you, actually, what is the importance of learning English in Angolan context?
Well, first I'd like to thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
It's nice to talk to different students and also English speakers, some of who are teachers and some are learners. I hope learners can understand me. And some might be saying that my voice seems to be, I think, loud or low, I think, down. But don't worry, you'll get me. Well, learning English in Angolan context. Well, it's really difficult to learn English when you the English subject, the way we have the subject at school, because I studied here. I didn't learn English in an English-speaking country. I learned it in Rwanda, and I had to go to a school, language school, where I had to study, to learn it. And I had English in grade 7. The first time that I had English was grade 7. So I had English grade 7, grade 8 up to grade 12. And people have been complaining. The complaints are always the same. They are verb to be. And I sometimes wonder whether the problems, or we should complain, teachers or the program. But I think teachers should also be the ones to blame. Why? Because the program can be difficult or can be bad, but you should adapt. You should do your best so as to adapt it. You can't rely on the program which the school or the Ministry of Education has provided. So it's important to train teachers, and we have schools like, or institutions like Luanda Higher Institute of Education Sciences, let's say. In Portuguese it should be, let me use Portuguese sounds, Instituto Superior de Ciência da Educação, instead. So I use Portuguese sounds. If I were to use English sounds, it should be something different. Yeah. So we have ASAD, and we have now Muntu in Luanda, but there are some other schools in our country. And so some teachers should go there. But apart from going to those institutions that I've just mentioned, they should also do teacher training courses, so as to learn how to teach. Because some people go to ESAD and also to Muntu, and some other institutions to learn English.
You have mentioned ESAD, but I would like to know, actually when someone wants to apply himself at ESAD, has to be full of knowledge on the language, actually in this specific case English, to be applied in there.
Sure.
On the other way, there is no way. But if someone wants to apply there at ESAD, don't you think you should go there just with the mastering the language?
Sure.
And where this one could learn this language, let's put aside students who came from abroad to Angola. Here in Angola, I feel like learning English, but at school where I have studied, I didn't learn as much as possible in order to make it easy for me communicating in English.
We went through the same process, because you start having English as a subject in grade 7, right? And so did I. But the thing is, as I said at the beginning, students complain that when they start learning English, then they start saying that when I was my teacher at school used to teach me verb to be, always verb to be, always verb to be. So what makes teacher teach verb to be? They are always, some of them, not all of them, some of them are always teaching verb to be. So what is behind the teaching of verb to be? I think some teachers are not, should I say qualified? Should I say that some of them are not qualified? Yeah. So they are there because they were hired and they have the post. But it's really important for teachers to be well trained, and they can't go to, they can't think, if I go or if I study at ESAD, I will learn English. No, you don't go to ESAD to learn English. We go there to study science. Because you will have subjects like phonetics and phonology, introduction to English grammar, psycholinguistics, and they have linguistics and some other subjects. And those subjects, they are all taught in English. So if you don't speak English, you won't be able to understand the lecturers, the professors, and also the content itself. And when there are people, it's hard to believe that there are teachers who they started first year with making the same mistakes. They started, like, let's say he started first year saying develop, He started the 4 years saying develop. He finished saying develop. He presented saying develop, and he will teach saying develop. So this person is not worried about his, let's say, his English. So he went there to learn English. And when they start studying there, what happened is these people end up doing what? End up quitting. They drop out.
Yeah.
So learning English, let's go back to the question. Learning English in our country, it's really difficult. Mainly when you study in a public institution, or even in a private institution, yeah. Because the thing is, the program, we are always complaining. We've always been complaining about the program. And again, the problem might not be with the program itself. Maybe the teachers, because I know that there are some teachers who work with the same program, and their results, their students speak English. How? If you work with the same program, maybe let's say you teach at escola, let's use Portuguese sounds, maybe escola 6.200, maybe let's say that it should be 6,200 school, but we should say it in Portuguese. Yes, you teach at that school and I teach in another school, and we're using the same program, but my students are speaking. So how can it be possible my students are speaking and yours aren't speaking if we are using the same program and also the same books? So you might be the problem. So what the Ministry of Education should do is to keep training teachers and invite teachers, maybe try to invite experienced teachers, and so as to change this problem, because we can't this issue. We can't go. It's not nice to see someone who studied or who started having English in grade 6 up to grade 12 or 13 can't speak English.
But don't you think this is a Ministry of Education policies regarding foreign language teaching and learning here in Angola, which causes those kind of difficulties?
That's what some people have been saying. But for me, I've already worked with that program. Yeah. Don't teach what your director of studies is asking to teach. You teach what your students need, because the principal will come and tell you that you should teach. This is the program and follow it. No, I will follow the program, but I will teach. My teaching will be based on what I learned at TESED, or if I did CELTA. CELTA is certificate in English language teaching to speakers of other language, okay, or certificate of English language teaching to adults. If you did this course, I will teach my students according to what I learned. Using English language teaching methodology, not teaching the way a teacher of Portuguese or a teacher of maths will teach his students or will teach their students. No, I will teach English the way it is taught everywhere in the world, but Angola, maybe. Yeah, because as you said, the Ministry of the policy of the Ministry of Education. Yes, if that's the policy, the Ministry of Education is not in the classroom. You are the boss.
Of course.
Yes. So teach English, basing on what you learned.
Do you mean this lack of development on learners speaking the target language, in this case English, these difficulties rely on these difficulties learners face rely on teachers?
Both learners and teachers, because some students, when they have English, they are just worried about getting 10. Just
That's
10.
true.
They are not motivated, and some teachers, when they are hired, they only say, like, the first thing they say, okay, I'm not here to make them speak, I just have to teach. No, I remember having taught a student who he lived in Portugal. When he came back to Angola, he was 23. Yeah, 23. But he went to Portugal when he was 3 years old, and he said that he has when he was in Portugal, he didn't go to a language school. He learned English, or the English which she spoke, she got it from school. She said that she started having English, I think, at grade 4, grade 5, or grade 6, up to university, and she could speak English.
Oh.
And the school where I was teaching by that time, and I don't want to mention it because of I don't want to
publish this school.
Yeah, it would not pay us. Yes, yeah. And she went there. She had to go through a placement test, and she was placed at intermediate level. And the school where I used to work, there was there were 6 levels: beginner, elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced. 6 levels. And she was placed at intermediate, which is the fourth level. Now, imagine someone who has never attended an English course and be placed at intermediate level. So she could speak, and intermediate level it's an acceptable level. And some of us started teaching English when we were beginners or elementary. So it's as I said at the beginning, both learners and teachers. Some teachers, they teach thinking that my students will not speak. So those teachers who have got, let me say, that stupid ideology or stupid way of thinking should be shaped. You see, so the Ministry of Education should observe, should know what their teachers are doing in the classroom, and so as to help them. And students, when students are motivated, they will they will change that, stupid way of thinking that they just need, let me say, a 10. I only need a 10. And if you look at most of our relatives or friends or nephews, their marks are usually 10, 11, 10, 11 English, it's only 10, 11, 13. If you see someone getting 10, 15 or 19, this person speaks English, but it shouldn't be like that. So it's important to change both teachers and students, learners, or let's say students' mindset. And the program may not be designed the way teachers think. They should adapt it.
Okay.
And talk to their colleagues or friends.
Actually, this is the motivation from learners toward the foreign language. I'm going to generalize, to make it general, foreign language. Don't you think it came from their previous background toward the language? They were toward the foreign language they have met first at school. Like the language is difficult. You will not speak it at school. You have to go to a center or language school to learn it. Otherwise, there is no way to learn. And also the session given for foreign language, do you think are enough for learners speak the language is learning at school?
Well,
because before you speak, actually we have 3 sessions a week for the class.
45 minutes, sometimes
yeah.
19 minutes.
We have 19, 45. Actually, are those sessions enough for students to get engaged with the language learning?
Well, we don't want our students to speak English the way we are speaking, but we have plans. I mean, you have the plan and also your aims. So what are your aims? What do you expect to get from, or what do you expect, or because when you let me go back to the aims and say, what do you want, or what level do you want your student to speak like you, or do you want your student just to get a 10? What do you expect to get from or what do you expect to get at the end of the school year? That's what I wanted to say. What do you expect to get at the end of the school year? Your student to get 10, or to be able to communicate? By the end of the school year, my students will be able to use to communicate, to use things, to introduce themselves without any problem, and to communicate, you see the level, beginner level. Let's say grade 7 is the first level, beginner, because you have 10 months, 10 months, 11. You have 11 months. Now, do you think these 11 months?
11,
I'm talking about the school year. The school year. Do you think your students will not be able to say or to utter at least a word? Only I am, you are, he is. And sometimes they have problems with verb to be. Not all students can. Not all students know verb to be. Yeah, not all of them. So it's possible to make them say something, because by the end of the school year, my students will be able to speak like a 3 or 4 months beginner. Grade 7, grade 8. At the end of this school year, my students will be able to speak like elementary students. You have again the program. You have the program, but you need to adapt. If you think that the book which is provided by the Minister of Education not working, you've got raw material. You've got lots of sources. YouTube, let's say the internet. You can talk to your colleagues. I can talk to you, Daniel, what have been doing so as to make your students speak. You need to do that. Yeah.
Okay. It means that teachers of English have to update themselves every single day, not to rely to rely always on the program given by the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
They have to adapt, they have to research, they have to look for what students need to interact in English, but it has to be based on interacting first with the students, what you need, what's your priority, and what you want to share first. And you start on this.
We should know our students' needs. You should know that. Teachers should know that, because you can. We have some teachers work with course books.
Okay.
We have the course books. We teach what is in it, but we don't teach the book. You select. You see that because you want your students to speak So you should try to find something that will work. That will work. If you don't do that, your students won't speak, and there will always be going out and saying things like, okay, you won't speak English. If you want to speak English, you've got to go to a language school or to a center, a professional training center, and learn English. But actually, he did that because he didn't have a very nice experience. Because if only he or she spoke English, they wouldn't say that.
Actually, most of students also are not boosted on learning English because they really know the importance of knowing English in Angolan context, because here we speak Portuguese, and if actually we could know why are we learning to speak English, actually our motivation should be different from the motivation we have, apart from teachers, because sometimes when we're learning English, we have to give our best to speak the language. Teacher is going to give you some rules, some words, and try to teach you the direction you have to take to speak the language. But above all, your goals makes you achieve the perfection you need on what you're learning. Now, from this idea, I would like to ask you, or to hear from you, what real misses us to start phrasing things in different way and try to speak this language. It should be spoken apart from Portuguese, because we know Portuguese at school. If you ask many students, I don't like English, but when you tell them, don't you know why saying that? No, I don't know. Actually, I don't want to speak English. It means that they lack information about the importance of this language in their career. Now, for them to be motivated on it, what is real they have to know about the language? Because they have to know first the language, then this knowledge they're going to get from about the language is going to motivate them, learn, and try to speak the language. What they have to know? You are the right person to ask this question.
What they have to know? Well, first, at school or anywhere.
Anywhere. In general, what they have to know about the language before learning it.
Well, I think the first thing they need is to know is to have goals. They have to set their goals. Why am I going to learn this language? Where am I going to speak it? And how much do I need to save so as to learn this language? But the first thing should be goals. What are your goals? Why do you want to learn this language? And when you enroll yourself, when you go to a school and you enroll, you should write also the advantages and disadvantages of learning English. What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? And I would like to mention some. This one came from a friend. Well, he commented on in one of my posts. He said, well, when you learn some of the advantages, when you learn English, you have more access to the information. You will not need a translator because you can speak English. So when you can speak English as a student, you know that most books are written in English, and you will need to, when you speak English, you will not need to go to Google Translator. So you will get the information from the source language, which is English. And another one, you will have you will improve your quality, let's say, your working quality. Yeah, this is one of the advantages, and you have access to international articles. You have access to international papers, and whatever conferences. You will not need any interpreter to interpret. For example, if you are selected or chosen to go to the UK, to South Africa or to Namibia to attend a conference, you will not need anyone to interpret. If it's interpretation, you will not need an interpreter. If it's a translator, you will not need any translator to speak English. And you also have chances of being promoted if you speak English, because there are certain companies where they if this employee speaks English, the manager can they have more opportunities, job opportunities, because they will they can ask you to be the translator or to translate, or you can follow
one
boss,
of
one of the administrators, and some other things. Yeah.
I've been witnessing at school some teachers in the first meeting with the student, they really talk about they really tell story about the English language and why it became widely spoken to students. Do you think telling students why English became why English became a language widely spoken should also be one of key to both students learning it, and they should be figuring out on learning the same language?
Well, I've never done it, like telling why English is the way you said it, why it is one of the most spoken, one of
widely
the most
spoken
languages.
Well,
I've never done it, but what I usually do, one of the first things that I do is to ask my students why they want to learn English, and the advantages of learning English, and also the disadvantages. And if they learn English, they will have, as I said, they will have lots of opportunities. And if they don't speak English, these are the problems that they might have. So telling them the history of English language, it may also get students' interest. It can help them get this interest.
Actually, it is also one of advice. Stay here. If you want to teach English, it's always better to start telling students why English became so spread, and why most of the countries, although they are not English-spoken countries, but they always have English as a core subject. And the policies for learning this language is not sometimes not to be written. You can have some difficulties on writing this language, but it's obligatory to be spoken. You have to know how to speak the language rather than writing, because writing is another process which you can acquire along by the time. But communication is the first goal. I had a student from India. He said, I can write in English, and when he wrote in English, it was full of mistakes, but he could speak English perfectly. He said, in my country, in India, the policies for foreign languages to be spoken. I could go anywhere you want. With English, could interact with anyone. It sometimes had help on writing on, but could speak. Then start acquiring this skill of writing. Mr. Dev, you are also the owner of one of polemics, if I can say, because there are some friends I know who had already a meeting with you saying, no, Mr. Dev didn't bring anything new for his phonemic chart, okay? Mr. Dev has a phonemic chart actually studied and organized by him, and also it was published in IT4 Voices. It is a magazine from UK, okay, where his phonemic chart is recognized and has given a lot of workshop, as I told you in his biography. But it's going to tell me first about the difference between his I'm trying to get it actually. Tell me the difference between your phonemic chart and international phonemic alphabet, because when I read both, I saw yours, I was analyzing it, and I went to see international alphabet, international phonetic alphabet. I saw the same thing, but just tell me, what is the difference between both?
Well, I don't think you saw the same thing, because the IPA, which stands for the International Phonetic Alphabet, is an international chart. It's a chart where you find the symbols of the most spoken languages. I am not a linguist, and I don't speak Mandarin, either Japanese, but I can transcribe what they say. If you speak Ganga or Mbundo or Gangela, any word, I will be able to transcribe it. Not write, but transcribe. How? How is it possible? It's possible because I know the IPA. In the IPA, you find you find the symbols. That's why the IPA, again, I'm using the IPA, so that International Phonetic Alphabet. You find, again, the symbols of the most spoken languages. And people who are studying English language teaching methodology, they should study phonetics, the IPA, and understand it. And who will teach them it is the lecturer of phonetics and phonology and also linguistics. Now, what about phonemic chart? In the phonemic chart, you find first we have phoneme and we have phonemic. Now, phonemic chart. In the phonemic chart, you find the 44 phonemes of standard Southern British English. Different from the 44 phonemes of standard Southern British English, SSBE. So different from the IPA. So again, in the IPA, you find the sounds or the symbols of the most spoken languages. In Portuguese, you find it there. Mandarin, you find it there. Greek, you find it there. But in the phonemic chart, which is behind us, you only find the phonemes of standard British English. I've heard, yeah, it's very. You are not. You said that some of your friends are saying that I didn't bring anything new. And if you don't understand anything about phonetics and phonology, or if you don't know the IPA, you will say that. But if you study the IPA, something is knowing, and the other thing is knowing about. If you know about the IPA and you know the IPA, and you study it and understand it, you analyze it, and you come with a critical thinking, you will see that there is something new. Because in the IPA, for me, before I published the phonemic chart, I had to read or I had to study the phonemic chart by Adrian Underhill, Professor Adrian Underhill, and studied the IPA so as to know where Adrian Underhill based his chart before he grouped it, and he used the vowel. If you look at the vowel sounds, the way they are grouped in my chart, they are different. And you find in the phonemic chart, which in the article that was published in Africa Alta, but first it was Africa TESOL. The article, the magazine that Mr. Daniel was talking about is this one. This is Voices, ITEFL Voices. It came from the UK. So if I didn't bring anything new, the editor of this magazine, she couldn't say that David Fernando, which she says here, she said that David Fernando presents a new pronunciation chart. So if it weren't something new, or yes, if it weren't copying, if it were, let's say, if it were copy and paste, it couldn't be published in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. So for you to understand, for you to know if I brought something new in this phonemic chart, which has been there for 3 years, you need to study it. You need to read Peter Roach, his book. Peter Roach, the book is Phonetics and Phonology, a course of Phonetics and Phonology. You need to study that, to read that book, study it, understand it, and get my phonemic chart, and also the one which was published by Professor Adrian Underhill, and try to analyze it. Use your critical thinking. Not don't be fanatic, you know, insane. And
his fame was not have to rely on it. Yeah.
And don't say no, it's Angolan. No, you should use academical eye, the eye that is here, the hidden eye. And if you use the hidden eye, and I'm trying to say the critical thinking, and study it, you will see that there's something new. And another thing that you can find there, you find the extra information. You find the extra information there, which has been really useful, and I've been getting positive feedback from students who've been using it.
Okay. Let me first greet some followers of this live here. They have commented on it. We have first. Let me check. It is Francisco Monday who gave applause to both of us. Francisco Monday. We have who else? Chris Ferreira, top. Greeting for you too. And we have Rolex Filho da Rosa, who said, "Go ahead." My friends, if you have some idea you want to share with us, please write it down. I'm going to read it for all of us. If you want to ask a question to Mr. Defa, you may also ask. He's here to explain to you. Actually, you already know the difference between phonemic short and international phonemic alphabet, which is totally far away from what Mr. Defa has brought here. Mr. Defa, how did you feel when you were invited to participate, to give your voice in the ITEFL Voices magazine? ITEFL Voices magazine is this one, okay? And Mr. Defa is going to tell us how did he feel when he was invited to make part of this magazine.
Well, actually,
as Angolan.
Actually, I am the one who went after them. The article, a phonemic chart from Angola, was first published, or as the editor says here, it first appeared in Africa TESOL. The article, a phonemic chart from Angola, was published there, and after it was published, it was published there through, let's say, I was helped by lecturer Caetano. He helped me, spoke to me. he tried to know if he asked me if I was willing to write an article, and it was a bit difficult for it to be published, because there's everybody, not everybody, but people who are into ELT, they know that there's a phonemic chart, and this a phonemic chart that was published by, again, the name that I've already mentioned, Professor Adrian Underhill. And they know that. So the editor of Africa TESOL, she didn't want to publish my article. Why? Because she needed something like I had to convince her. Yes.
Which could convince her.
Convince her. Yes, she said, David, you know that there's already an article, a phonemic chart. So tell us what you are bringing. What is coming from your, or what people will see. Is there any difference? Like the key question was, what's the difference between Adrian Underhill chart and this new chart? And that was the core question. So if I didn't answer, let's say the answer from that question was the key for the article to be published. And what is the difference between Underhill's chart and this new chart? After I have answered it, she approved my article, and the article was published. After it was published in Africa TESOL, now Africa ELTA, I went after Africa or ITA for Voices. So that were your question, answering your question. So when the editor approved it, so I was really happy, and she says that my article was the first ever Voices article coming from Angolan. So this means that I should say that I am the first Angolan to have an article published in Voices, and I was happy because I was taking the name of our country abroad, and not only in Africa but in Europe, where people say to be the continent of science. That's what they say. Yeah.
And they've notes now that Africa is the continent of science. Because you have done it, and someone who has started
science
in Rwanda, in Angola, and never. Have you ever was abroad?
No, I've never been abroad. No, I have. But I've never studied. Studied abroad. I've been to South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa. I've been to Namibia. I went to Oshakati, but I went to South Africa.
Where is Oshakati?
It's in Namibia.
Namibia.
I went to Cape Town to do CELTA, and I went to Namibia. I was in Cape Town for 4 weeks, and I was in Namibia for 4 days. 4 days.
Just 4 days.
Yeah, I went there to run a presentation on the importance of knowing and mastering the sounds of English. And the presentation was to be run at Namibia University. Unfortunately, I didn't make it because of COVID. It was in 2020. When I arrived on a Sunday, I think, yeah, and the day that I arrived, it was the day that the Minister of Education, the Minister of Health, announced the first 2 positive cases. So I had to, we had to cancel everything, but I went to Namibia. So I've been to two English-speaking countries, but I've never been to Europe, or let's say to the UK, or to Canada, or to the USA. So because just to answer, like as you were saying, someone who has never been abroad, or has never been or has never lived in an English-speaking country, to produce or to way
such
to
article
publish
based
an
on
or a
phonetic.
chart. Yeah, but I'm not good at phonetics, and I'm not good at it. The thing is, I'm a teacher, and I think that I wanted to do something for my student, and then do something for our country. And I know that we are mortal. We can die at any time. So we need to do something for our community,
will benefit
our country. Yeah, and that's what I've been doing. So science can be done anywhere in the country, or anywhere in the world.
Okay, apart from having your name, okay, on the most famous magazine in the world,
English, ELT.
Okay. If I can say it in ELT.
Yeah, actually it's ELT. Yeah.
And we also know that man speaks all the language. Did you get someone from this work?
No.
You just got the name spread.
Yeah, it's there, and after the publication of the article, of the same article, which is a phonemic chart from Angolan, ITEFL, the International Association of Teachers of English as Foreign Language. This association has got organizing conferences, and this one. This was to be organized or to be held in Manchester, but due to COVID, they didn't happen. And in 2020, they decided to organize it online. And as ANELTA, which is the Angolan English Language Teachers Association, is one of the associates, the president spoke to the president of the.
It's still
Mr. Caetano.
Mr. Caetano.
Yeah. So the president of the association from Iran spoke to Mr. Caetano to see if he could present. They asked him, "Are you willing?" As you know that this year, 2020, we are going through difficult moments, and which is COVID. We are under COVID. We are under COVID-19, and things. Let's say we are in a lockdown, due to COVID. So we need to do something, and we are not.
Start.
We can't stop. We need to do something. So and ITEFL is no longer going to organize the face-to-face event, which is supposed to be in Manchester. So it's going to be this year because of COVID. It's going to be online. Now, yes, are you willing to give a talk? Or if you are not willing to give a talk, you can talk to one of the members.
It's better on it to do that.
Yes. So try. If you are not willing to do it, you can talk to a member. And this member, you will give a talk. Yeah, and Mr. Caetano spoke to me. Okay. Say, David, it's your time. So
actually, just talking about this, one thing, laughing. Actually, 2 years then I met firstly Mr. Matondo Masaka. I said, no, you are the king of phonetic and phonology. I said, yeah. So the way he was mastering the sound, I said, no. It was getting rid from this position, this title. I said, no, that's Mr. Def. But who is Mr. Def? Now, I'm going to introduce you to him. And then it stuck on my mind. You are the king of pronunciation.
No.
That is Mr. Masak's blame.
Oh yeah, no.
And what was this saying that? No, king. No, I'm going to introduce you.
There's no need no titles. No titles. We get. Well, these are titles that we get from our friends.
Okay.
We get them from our friends because our friends, they sometimes want to praise us. Yeah, but we can't take them, see, because I can't go out there and start saying that I'm the king of what? I get nothing.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. Matondo Masa, greeting for you. That's always a pleasure to have you from the other side watching us and trying to learn something from these men here by my side. Okay. Along your argument, you say that there are some people that could actually were asking you. No. When you went abroad in Namibia, you spoke about the importance of.
I was talking about the importance of knowing and mastering the sound.
Actually, tell us here what is the importance of knowing and mastering the
the sounds of English. Okay. Well, it's a topic that I've been running before I published the phonemic chart. I decided to start running presentations, let's say giving talks on the sounds of English as a way of trying to get teachers and students or English speakers interest in pronunciation. Because I strongly believe that pronunciation has always been looked down. Lots of teachers, students, English speakers have been looking down on pronunciation. So I decided to come up with a phonemic chart and bring something like a revolution, try to revolutionize the teaching of pronunciation. Because some teachers haven't been teaching pronunciation effectively. Why? Why they haven't been doing that? Because they don't know the sounds of English either most of them. So when you know the sounds of English, you'll be able to teach certain aspects of connected speech effectively. For example, let's say intrusion, linking red. You have linking red, you have linking yeah, you have linking yeah, linking red, linking yeah. And when you know the sounds of English, or when you know, or you don't need to be, or when you are good at, should I say good at pronunciation? No, when you know the sounds of English, you will know that English is English spelling is not a good guide for pronunciation. English when English spelling you cannot trust. You cannot say because some teachers usually say they are teaching pronunciation, but they are referring to, instead of mentioning sounds, they mention letters and letter combinations. And according to Corner 1980, sounds are spoken, letters are written. And
I got it now. I didn't know.
English and May 2012 states it by saying that there isn't a one-to-one correspondence between graphemes and phonemes, or let's say not phoneme but pronunciation. So when you know the sounds of English, when you master them as a teacher, not as a student, when you start teaching pronunciation, you'll never and ever refer to letters, because you know that when you look at the diagraph O, double O, like double O, it's a diagraph. Then when you look at the diagraph O, or the double O, so this diagraph, and you say, no, the diagraph O is, or double O is pronounced up, for example, you say up, like in blood. Okay, what about oo coming from food? What about ook coming from good? You see. So when you know and master the sounds of English, you will never and ever refer to graphemes or letters when you are talking about pronunciation. And you will also know the correct linking. You'll be able to link the words correctly, because there are some speakers who have been making up their linking, thinking that they are linking the words correctly, but actually that's not the way it should be. So you need to know the sounds of English, and also when you know the sounds of English in the classroom, let's say another thing that makes me, or that made me start running talks or presentations on the importance of knowing the sounds of English is to promote the phonemic chart, because in the presentations or at the places where I've been running presentations, I often, before I talk about the phonemic chart, the first thing that I do is to get teachers' interest in pronunciation, especially the sounds of English, because sounds are the least important thing when teaching pronunciation, but they play a very important role when transcribing, when transcription is concerned, because you can't transcribe a word if you don't know the sounds. See, and for example, you cannot say amishu. For example, amishu, I told you, or I told you, did you? So what is happening here? You have amishu. In amishu, you have sh, or you have miss, and then you have ye. So you will only be able to explain this if you know the sounds, because first you have miss, you have s, mishu, you have ye. In ye, when you have s and ye, they coalesce, they form a new sound, which is sh, and you have mishu. And in did you, so you have de and ye. When de and ye coalesce, they have a new sound. They form a new sound, which is je, and you have like I told you. And another one is want you. I want you. I want you. Some people usually say I want you, but they are not able to explain what is happening there. Why are they saying like some teachers? Okay, so like okay, here you have to say I told you, I want you. Yeah. So what is happening there? Why are you saying want? I want you or I want you? So you have the test sound. Why am I saying te and not t? Because I'm talking about pronunciation. I'm talking about sounds. So the last letter of want is t, but the last sound is te. So when you have te, if a word ends in te and the next one starts in ye, so what you will have? You have want you. You will have ch. So you need to know about sounds.
Okay, Mr. Deva, behind her we have a phonemic chart here, and this process of phonetic sounds and pronunciation.
Yeah.
Apart from me, that I really want to know, and there might be other people watching us that want also to know and be clear about what you're explaining here, the difference. How could someone in dictionary take note of sound, and actually then you have some words.
You have a letter.
Word and then the letters. You have words
transcription
and transcription. You will explain us this, but first I have a friend who has started with me. I think in 2012, if I'm not wrong. He now lives in South Africa. His name is Fernando Moraes Ngunza. Ngunza, I know you're watching us and I can see that. I want you to comment on something. Okay, over there you are in South Africa. And also I want to greet a friend of ours named Jason Albert Ciro. He says, very impressive. Therefore, am I pronouncing well your name? Therefore,
No,
differ. No?
Duffer.
Duffer. Okay. I'll put that. Oh my God.
Well, it's
Duffer.
It,
Okay.
wait, if you speak American English, duffer, because you have the red sound,
Okay.
rhotic accent. If your accent is rhotic, you say duffer. But if you speak, if your accent is non-rhotic like mine, I never say duffer. I always say duffer.
Duffer.
Yeah, because the last sound is schwa. So duffer. With the sound you have the sound is the sound this one. This
Yeah.
and then the sound. So you say duffer.
Duffer.
Yeah.
Let me take. Okay.
So you don't say you don't use it's not, don't make it diphthong. No, it's not a diphthong. It's
I'm not well this, but one day invite me to talk about where this rhotic sound came from, and accent. Is it accent?
Rhotic accent is
Where
you
is?
find it in the phonemic chart,
Okay.
and this is what makes this phonemic chart different. Yeah, because
I just have some background.
You have backup information.
About this,
Yeah, everything
okay.
which is written
And
here
why?
is based on-
And why do America use it? I can explain you this because I've been reading the. But as we're talking about sounds, let me give the word to the.
It's like you know, you're in Congo, and I'm also in Congo. I am from Tozo. Where'd you come from?
Damba.
Damba, yeah. I come from Damba. And remember, our variety is Wawu, but Kimbere's variety is Wabu. So you can't ask. Why do they say Wabu? You should start to know why they say Wabu. Why we say Wawu? We say Anae, but they say Anabe. See?
I can explain this. I know about this.
Yeah,
but
so
yeah.
You go to language, Bantu linguistics, or African. You can go, Bantu linguistics. Yeah.
We have studies in linguistics.
So you study the origin, the variety.
Right, as well. Okay, Mr. Dev, here we have this. I want you to explain us this. You were saying, what is between the lash? I think
slash brackets.
Slash a bracket. Okay. What is this exactly?
Well,
they sing this.
We have slash brackets and also square brackets. When we are talking about sounds, for example, this is D, I, P. These are letters. Now, when we are before slash brackets, we are before sounds. This is de. It's no longer D. It's de. And this one is not I. It's it. It's a sound. And this is not P. P is the letter, but this is a sound. And this sound is pe. Pe. It's voiceless. Pe. 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 And it's voiceless and there. It's voiceless. Voiceless and at the same time it's silent, or it's unreleased, because pe can be released. It's voiceless. It can be aspirated, and it's aspirated at the beginning, when it is at the beginning, in the middle, but when it is stressed. For example, in dip, the pe sound is not aspirated. But it's still voiceless. It's not aspirated. It's unreleased. But if you look at park. So you have the same. Now we are before the same phoneme. Pe. This is a phoneme. They are the same phoneme. But for those who did English or are doing English at university, they might have spoken about, if you haven't talked about it, about phonemes, allophones, allomorphs. In allomorphs, it's taught in morphology, because allomorphs use morphemes in morphology. And phoneme, allophone, it's in phoneme. So we are before. This is a phoneme. This one. Pe, 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 pe. It's a phoneme. But this phoneme can have different allomorphs or allophones. And what are allophones? Allophones are different realizations of a phoneme. So the phoneme
Placing different place around.
different realizations means a different way of being produced. For example, the phoneme from park is different from dip, because here it's aspirated, but here it's unreleased.
It is released when
Isn't that?
it can't be pronounced strongly.
It's first when you say house, you have aspirated, and another is not aspirated. For example, mute. When you look at hour, in hour you have H there, so that H is not pronounced. But when you look at hello, the word hello, you find H, and this H, which is a letter, the sound is this is aspirated. So you say house, hello, but we don't say hour. No, we say hour. What's the hour? So it's like, so that aspiration that you find in house, home, hotel, is the same one that you find in pet. For example, here it's aspirated. I'm saying it's not. So in park it's aspirated. In poor or poor it's aspirated. In words like people, person, past, it's aspirated. So we say, and for teachers, when you know the sounds of English, you will never say like, today we are going to talk about present perfect. No. The word is English, but you are not using the right sound. You don't say present perfect, you say present perfect, because the pep there is stressed, so it should be aspirated. Present perfect, past perfect, and the three sounds like and they are aspirated when they are stressed, and also at initial position. For example, again, the from dip and so they are sounds from the same phoneme, but they have different realizations. Why? Because they have different positions. So this one is at the end, and silence. There's a silence here. There's nothing coming after the pet sound. So there's a silence. So it's unreleased. But here, initial position, and the same. If you look at this sound, it's so this is K, but this is K. It's aspirated. You say park. You don't say park. It's a park. Park. But this K is park. Bark. If you look at card, it's aspirated. See, it's but if you say cook, you don't say cook. Cook. You say cook. You have in cook. You have two K sounds. Well, the phoneme is K. This one. The phoneme is K. But this phoneme can have or can be pronounced or produced when it is in a word. It can have different realizations, and this is called allophones. So, if you look at cook, you find two K sounds there. The first one is is aspirated. The second is not aspirated. It's not aspirated because you don't say cook. You say cook. You don't say cook. You don't say cook. No, cook. The first is aspirated. So teachers need to know and master the sounds of English so as to be able to teach pronunciation effectively. And when students, those people that are learning English, they don't need to learn or to master the sounds of English. No, but those people that are studying it, he said, factual humanities, they need to know the IPA, they need to understand it. And as he said, your lecture of phonetics and phonology and linguistics will teach you how the sounds are produced. And your lecture of ELT methodology will teach you how to use the phonetic chart. Because you have to be able to use it. It's a teaching tool. So your lecture of phonetics and phonology and linguistics will teach you how sounds are produced, how like the human, let's say the system itself, how the place of articulation, the manner of articulation, also the voicing. This is dealt with phonetics and with your professor or your lecture of phonetics and phonology and linguistics. But how to use the phonemic chart in the classroom, that's the English language teaching methodology professor business. So your lecture of phonetics and phonology and linguistics, it doesn't need, or they don't need to talk about the phonemic chart. They just need to talk about the IPA. Because you have to be able to, maybe if you are thinking of doing linguistics, let's say you want to be a linguist, so you need to be able to transcribe any word spoken in any language. That's why it's important for those people who are doing English and Faculty of Humanities, and also ESET and some other institutions where they've been teaching English, to be able to understand the IPA. But your lecture of phonetics or English language teaching methodology can't use the IPA, no. But you should use
Just phonemic chart.
Yes, by David Fernando.
Okay.
It should be like that.
Okay. Take note, if you want to develop your pronunciation skill, actually can acquire contact Mr. Deford is going to sell you these materials on phonemic, on phonologies, I can say, and it will help you to master the word, the sounds, and it should be mastered.
Sorry to interrupt you. You asked me about dictionary. Yes. When
I'm just going there. I didn't. I asked you. I just could say something. But when you were just teaching us.
No, not teaching.
Let me say this. That is exactly a teaching. Okay. Actually, when you were introducing some aspect, not it's correct, not to take out this word. When you were introducing some aspect relating to sounds, letters, when it comes to sound, actually, for example, in the beginning, actually, you release much hair from your lungs. House. I got it.
Aspirated.
I have some difficulties on pronouncing some of
words that are
words. Like,
what do you mean?
Voice sounds.
Or let's say words or sounds that are aspirated. You mean that?
Aspirated, right?
Yeah,
aspirated.
There are only three.
I have
sounds.
some different
only three sounds, or let's say only three phonemes that are aspirated. They are and the three of them are voiceless.
And at the end, those sounds at the end, they are voiceless, right?
They are voiceless. Yes.
At the end, no. At the end,
they are voiceless because when we are talking about sounds, the grouping of consonant sounds, they are grouped into three parameters, and they are voicing, place of articulation, and manner of articulation. So those teachers that teach English, they only need to know about, let's say, voicing, Because when they know about voicing, they will be able to teach the past simple of regular and regular voice effectively. Why do some people say stop it or call it? Because they don't know the sounds. Because when you know the sounds, you will never and ever say, I helped you, or I called you. You will say, I called you, for example. And you will say, I stopped. You helped me. Mr. Daniel helped me. He helped me. Mr. Daniel helped me last week. So you have helped. You have coming white. When you know the sounds, you will this thing related to voice law aspiration. There's three sounds, or there's three folders. When they are at initial position, and also when in monosyllabic words, at initial position they are aspirated. In polysyllabic words, they are only aspirated at the beginning when they are stressed. For example, the pe from person is aspirated, but this pe is not aspirated in potato. So we don't say potato, no, we say potato. The aspiration reduces. But this pe, the same pe sound, the same pe sound in people, we have two pe sounds there. The first one is aspirated, people. The second is not aspirated. So we don't say things like people. No, we say people. The first pe is aspirated. The second one is not aspirated. So let's say when pe sound, or when the voiceless. Okay, let's say these are these three sounds are voiceless, and they are the only ones that are aspirated. So when these three sounds are at initial position in monosyllabic words, they are the initial position. They are aspirated, and in polysyllabic words, they are not. They are only aspirated when they are stressed. Example: person, people. But again, the same pe is the same pe which is aspirated in person and people is not aspirated in the potato. So the pe there, or the first syllable, is not stressed. The stress is on potato. So potato, and the stress is on the second syllable. So you can't stress the first. You can't make the pe sound aspirated. And the same works with te. So you say tell. We don't say telling the time or telling the time. No. Today we are going to talk about hello everyone, for example. Today we are going to talk about telling the time. So not time, not what time is it? What time is it? And some people said time. I think I saw some Brazilian usually say, some of them. I don't know if you remember Speech English, a book which was published by a Brazilian. They used to say speech English. It was published in I think 2011. So they often say time, and some Angolan also say time. Sometimes time. What time is it? Not what time is it? No, there's not time in English. So when you say time, you are making up a new sound. Because the sound that we find in time is te, it's not ch. It's this one, te, not ch. So, excuse me, why are you saying time? And it's not actually, it's not this. It's not ch, it's te and s. So it's time. It's not chime. They don't say chime, but they say time. So it's t and s, and there isn't. When you look at time, the word time, you don't find this combination.
Okay, my friends, if you want a lesson about this, Someone has commented on it. Chris Ferreira says, he put the phone, allophone. Is it allophone in the middle?
Which one?
Between a phone. Okay. The and te. The sound, the sound, and te sound. I didn't get you, Chris. What do you mean? What do you want to say? And Chris Ferreira still says, teacher, please talk about those words. Them and tem. Them and tem, no? Them and tem. What is this?
Talk about them. You talk about them.
Them and tem. And tem. Them and tem. And tem. I don't know. Mr. Chris, still we didn't get you. What do you mean? To talk about them and tem? What exactly are you looking to be, what exactly do you need to be explained? Okay. Mr. Dev.
I think you might be talking about
the pronunciation.
Talking about pronunciation, maybe. Yeah, because there are some people who only know the word, they don't know the pronunciation, or they only they know the word, but they don't know the correct pronunciation. But the thing is, it's dame, and tame, and here something that you only find in the phonemic chart, and something which you learn or you may learn in phonetics and phonology is what's that? There's something setting a group of phonemic sounds when you have, for example, minimal pairs and minimal set. Minimal pairs and minimal set. Dame and tame are called minimal pairs. They have the first phonemes are different, but the last ones are the same. So this is called minimal pairs. Dame, tame, and it is something that is visible in my phonemic chart. If you look at, for example, park and bark, tip and dip, card and guard. So let's look at this word, dame. The first you have deck and tech. Deck and tech. The first phoneme is in dame. The first phoneme is deck. And the second is a. And the last one is me. In tame, the first phoneme is t. The second is a. The second is me. So we are before minimal pairs. You have dame, tame, and another thing that a few people know, I think, it's minimal set. Minimal set is when you have minimal pairs. It's when you have 2, 3, 4 words that are only differentiated, or whose difference is just in one phoneme. For example, dame and tame. And if you look at but in minimal set, 3 words. Let's say sun. Yes, this is minimal set. Yeah. Minimal. Let me say minimal pairs when 2 words are differentiated, or let's say their difference is only one phoneme. Yeah, like dame, not 2, 3, 4, or 5 words. No, that should be wrong.
Difference is just on
the phonemes. The phoneme de and te.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the second and the last phonemes are the same, but the first ones are different. So this is called minimal pairs. But minimal set are those we are before minimal set when 3 or 4 words have one different phoneme. For example, sun, and sun. So these 3 words, their difference is only on one phoneme. In sun, we have me. In sun, we have ne. And in sun, which is the past participle sing, we have So we can say we hear.
What is this sound?
Yeah. And this is
oh my God.
So the first phonemes are the same. As you can see, we have have the same phoneme. The two first phonemes are the same, but the last one is different. So we are before minimal set because they are three words that have the first two phonemes are the same, but the last one, and all of them have only three phonemes, or let's say only three sounds, but the last one is different. And minimal pairs, as I said, tip and nip. Oh, I think you have four.
Okay, Mr. Def. My friends, contact us if you want to know more about these issues. Okay, we can't be here explaining you all the issues, otherwise you won't pay us for this. You have to pay us. We're spending money to teach you something. Actually, it is on some nations we're trying to introduce to you. If you want to know more about this, contact us. Okay, contact us. That we're going to teach you this. He's going to teach you this. Okay. Now
let me just try to mention this name, Daniel Lambuta.
Okay, Lambuta
is the owner of one of the number one schools in English province called Buddha School.
Okay.
And Buddha School is the first English school to use my phonemic chart.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm happy because he opened his door. Why did I mention his name or the name of his school? Because he opened his doors, or the door of his school, in order to receive me, and he started using the phonemic chart. So his school is one of the first schools in Angola to use the phonemic chart, and I'm happy. It's not because it's from which province. It usually says it's from Kamatang, but I'm happy because he opened the doors for me, and lots of people, when they started going to his school, they saw the phonemic chart, they started wondering what it was, and they got interested. So it's something to highlight.
Okay, greeting Daniel Mbota. Keep doing it. Keep spreading this phonemic shirt and English language as well. Okay, we are with you. We'll be always supporting you in whatever you do. Mr. Defo, actually, as I was saying, if someone watching us wants to know more about this, he has to contact us in order to pay us. Now, let's be frank with this. To pay us to learn, because you have passed through a lot of difficulties, nights and nights without sleeping, just to draw this, to help many teachers of English to master the sound. It could be mastery, because we just know sounds, but actually we don't master it. Should be mastery, because teachers are not worried about this. That's your personal job. If you want to master well or not, that's a personal job. But you have spent time doing it. Now you have to be rewarded for what you have done. As we are just giving some notions, some slash of what we're talking here. Now that's your time to use the dictionary for that question I've asked you.
Yeah. When teachers have a phonemic chart in the classroom, they will be using it as a teaching tool. And in the classroom, there are, I think, 2 or 3 ways through which you can work on sounds. The first one is audio. For example, you produce the word. It's very common to hear students saying in English instead of English, or finish. They say, instead of saying finish, they say finis. So what sound is that? It's not an English sound. Or let's say the person is producing the wrong sound. So the sound is wrong. It's not in English or finis, it's finish, English. Like from sugar. We don't say sugar, we say sugar. So the same sound that you produce, or the same sound coming from sugar, which is sh, is the same one that we find in English and Finnish. So when your student says, or if your student has been saying English and Finnish, how can you help him? If you don't have the phonemic chart, you produce you produce the sound. The student, so you say shh, finish. We say finish, shh, shh. But you can ask the student to repeat it. Repeat after me. Shh, finish, sugar, English. Now, when you have the, if you can transcribe the word, or I mean the sound, you transcribe it. But if you can't transcribe, so you need to have the phonemic chart. And you show the sound. You say, for example, you show the sound. The sound is, I think they can't see it in the classroom. You show, and you say, shh. So the sound is shh, and you say, sugar, finish, finish, English. So that the usefulness of the phonemic chart in the classroom. And another thing is, it's very common to hear English. If you listen, I'm not saying English speakers, I'm saying English speakers. I'm not producing shh, but I'm not going to explain it. Okay, so it's very common to hear English speakers saying good.
Yeah, good,
So,
I'm
yes,
good. You say, when you say I'm good, no, not
I'm
good.
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 Yes.
They want to.
It's not, when you have the phonemic chart and know the sounds, if your students usually say good, but you say good. So with the phonemic chart, first you go to the first thing, which is the first step, which is producing the sound. You produce the sound. Or you transcribe it. If you can't transcribe it, what are you gonna do? You show the sound, which is this one here. So you say, good, good. Instead of saying good, you start saying good. And and we Portuguese speakers have got problems with the sounds of English. I'm talking about single vowels, long and short vowel sounds. It is sometimes difficult to differentiate a long vowel sound from a short one. So when we have to say feet, we say fit. Yes. So my feet are killing me. Instead of saying feet, the person, some people say fit. So when you know and master the sounds of English as a teacher, you will help your students be able to produce them and recognize them in the dictionary, which I want to mention. So where we say, for example, we don't say put, we say put. Put it there, not put. Can you put it there? It's not put it there. Put it there. So this is something that if you don't know it, you will only be able to know that and do that if you know the sounds of English. Now going to the dictionary. The dictionary in the classroom, when you start teaching pronunciation effectively, because but some teachers have been asking their students to buy a dictionary, but they never teach them how to use it. So you ask your students to buy the dictionary, the students will buy it. It's important for you to teach them how to use it. Now, first we have how to help your students using dictionary when you know the sounds of English, and why you need to know and master the sounds of English. It will help you teach pronunciation effectively. And with the sounds of English, you will, when you ask your students to buy a dictionary, you will, first thing you will tell them, if you come up a new word, the first thing that you need to do is to find the letter, the spelling. Letter, for example, we are talking about dip. This dip is different from D. Let me go D. Let me go D and there. So this is there and D. Okay, so we are before there. This word there. You have your students is saying D instead of there. What you have to do? You tell them, or you tell him or you tell her that when you come up a new word, the first thing that you have to do is to find the spelling. After you have found the spelling, you need to find the transcription. how this word is pronounced. Because what some people do is, when they come across a new word, they find the transcription, they find the word. After finding it, what do? They skip the transcription, which is this one, and they go to translation. And then we start hearing, develop, finish, capable, and stuff like that. So why are things like that happen? Because some teachers don't know how to find the stress syllable in the dictionary and how to find the pronunciation in the dictionary. So when you teach pronunciation effectively, I'm not saying that teachers haven't been teaching pronunciation. They have, but not all of them have been doing it effectively. So when you, the first thing you come across, when you come across a new word, you're talking to someone who's learning English or a new student, the first thing that they need to do is find the spelling. After the spelling, don't skip the transcription. After the spelling comes pronunciation. After pronunciation, you will have, if it's monolingual, like this one that I have here, I don't need to show it, but I've got a dictionary here. If you have a monolingual dictionary like this one, you will only have the meaning of the word. But if you have bilingual, what will happen is you will have the translation. So first, when you come up a new word, the first thing you need to do is to find the spelling. After the spelling comes the pronunciation or the transcription. Transcription may sound a bit difficult for your student, but so use pronunciation. After spelling comes pronunciation. After pronunciation, if you're using a monolingual dictionary, you will find the meaning of it. If you are using a bilingual, you will find translation. So teachers will only be able to do it if they know the sounds of English. And when you do that, you tell them that there's a small vertical line. For example, in probable, or in probably, we don't say probably, we say probably. So in probably, there's a small vertical line which is higher. That small vertical line, which is higher, is called stress. And you can find this information in the phonemic chart from Angolan. Okay, you have the small vertical line, which is this one here. I don't know if you can see it. This one. Okay, you will find a small vertical line. So this small vertical line will tell you where you have to put more energy. So in words like probably, you have at the beginning. So the stress is on the first syllable. You will say probable or probably. And in capable, you will say, instead of say capable, you will say capable. But in success, instead of success, you have the stress is on the following syllable.
It happens as well on those words which are nouns and verbs at the same time. Like for example, I was confusing present, contact, okay.
Transport.
Yeah, I had problems with this, but
those are called word pairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, word
It
pairs.
happens also in these specific cases.
Yes. You need to when we are before word pairs. Even word pairs may happen. You have those words that they have the same spelling.
Mm-hmm.
The same spelling, different, but different. The same transcription, sometimes the same transcription, with the stress different. The stress is different stress placement. Yeah, the stress is placed in a different syllable, or it's stress on a different on a different syllable. For example, it's a present. So I'm going to present, and this is a present. I got this mobile phone as a present. Or to present, I'm going to present you my teacher, or even like use.
Contact you.
Yes, use and use. So can I use your dictionary verb? Okay, yes you can, but make it with use of it. So you have use, you have it's no longer use. So we are before a noun. What's the use of? Some people have been asking me, what's the use? You say use, not use. What's the use of buying your phonemic chart if you are not going to teach me how to use it? So what's the use of, not what's the use? And the same like yes. We say the verb, the past simple use is used with the that use that used. But we say yes. I used to start at use. I use, not I use it. So these are called word pairs.
Okay, these are other issues which you will know deeper if you come here to learn with Mr. Daffer.
Oh, if you
Daffer.
Yeah, Daffer.
Okay, I'm just struggling rehearsing to pronounce his name as the way you want it. Okay, as the way the rule says.
Not the way
you want it. As the way the rule says. Okay, it should be Daffer. Okay, Daffer.
Daffer, rhotic accent. Daffer, non-rhotic accent.
Rhotic or not rhotic accent. This is a new lesson to be taught. I can teach you this. Okay. The most important is that we have to master the sounds of English. Okay. The sound of English has to be mastered. Mainly for those teachers of English. If they master, as Mr. Def has already said, if you master it, you're going to teach better your students. We have Sekulu Petulu. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's also for Mr. Daffer. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
This is Seluka.
I think we met in 2019.
Okay.
He was a student, or he is a student of Montreal. I think he studied there. He's Teofilo, France.
Okay. My friends, there are a lot of things to say and share with you, but we cannot take all our time explaining things.
Yeah.
If you get interested on learning more about those things we have shared with you here at Mr. Daffer office, please contact him, contact me, and I'm going to introduce you to him. Or you can come you can come at Kimbangu and ask to Mr. Daffer's office. Someone from somewhere around Kimbangu will tell you where is Mr. Daffer's office. And you also can follow my page, Daniel Salomon, Daniel Salomon, on my Facebook, Daniel Salomon, O Poeta. Actually, let me read one more comment. Good as to you, good as to you. Let God bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Actually, I'm thankful for having you on the other side, supporting, commenting, and doing things which will help us in coming days. But before handing up with this brilliant conversation, I would like to tell Mr. Daffer to, in brief, to tell you some words, just to sum up with some consideration about our meeting.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. It was nice to talk to this vast audience, where I think some people are students and some are teachers, some are learning, or some are learners. It was really nice, and I hope to talk to you next time. And I also I hope you could learn something from my talk. It's recorded, and you will, those people who didn't attend it might attend it next time, or they will watch it somewhere in the world. So if you have any question, you can get in touch. You can talk to us. Mr. Daniel will talk to me, and I hope what you learned here practice it, and you also share it with your friends.
Okay.
Thank you for watching.
The phonemic chart here is not expensive. How much does it charge?
This one is 500 kwanzas. It depends.
500
It depends on the place where you are. If you are far from my office, you get it 1,000 or 1,500. Yeah, 1,000 in my office, 1,000 in a school, for example. No, 100 in my office. 500 in my office. Yes, 500 in my office. 500 in a school. 1,000 or 1,500 far from my office. And the phonemic chart, which is this one, this is for teachers. It's 7,000, depending on the place where you are. 7,000.
This one
for teachers.
For teachers, you look at this bigger, okay, than this one, okay, 5,000. And this one, if you come at our office, at his office, in this case, it's 500. Okay. At school, it's 500. If you invite him to meet you at any school for talking, actually, your student or some teachers who are interested on having this are going to buy it for 500. Now, if he has to move from his office to your place, it's 1,000 with extra, which is 1,000 and half. Okay, please buy it. If you're a teacher or if you are a teacher to be, buy it. Contact him to have it. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having you on the other side, supporting, commenting on our conversation. And there are still friends commenting on our live. Rolex Filho da Rosa says, thanks Mr. Duffer. I learned the big difference between use as a verb and use as a noun. Okay.
Yeah,
Did I pronounce it well?
Well, actually, the word is use.
Use?
Yeah, the word, for example, it says between use. The word is use.
Okay.
Yeah, so you need to clarify it. If it's a verb, the word itself, if I write it, I will say use. But okay, it's use as a verb. As a noun, it's use.
Use. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was really a pleasure. A pleasure. Mr. Dev, it was also a pleasure for me meeting you here in your office. And no one better than you know the struggle we had to pass through to have this live, okay, here happening. Okay, thank you very much. See you at see you on Wednesday. I'm going to have another live with someone, but in this time it won't be in English, it will be in Portuguese. We are going to talk about literature. Okay, please be on other side following what's coming next on our lives with Daniel Salomon, Miss Daniel Salomon for English speakers. Okay, bye bye. See you then.
Bye guys.
All right.